So you're looking to future-proof your career, thinking about that next big skill. Your mind probably goes to AI, maybe data science. But what if I told you there's something else absolutely exploding right now? In this explainer, we're diving deep into one of the hottest credentials on the planet, carbon accounting certification. Let's get into it.
Okay, let me ask you something. For the last 10 years, we've all heard the same thing, right? The new language of business is code. But you know what? In today's climate-focused world, that's just not the whole picture anymore. There's a new language emerging, and it's becoming every bit as critical.
Yeah, you heard that right. It's not code, it's carbon. I mean, just think about it. This whole thing started as, some voluntary report a company might put out. Now, it is a regulated, core business capability. Understanding and managing carbon emissions is now fundamental to how companies operate, how they compete, and how they build trust.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to talk about why this has become such a mission-critical skill. Then, we'll get into why getting certified is pretty much non-negotiable. After that, we'll break down the credentials employers actually trust, how you can specialize to grow your career, and finally, we'll take a look at where this whole profession is headed. Okay, Section 1, a new mission-critical skill. And here's the best way to think about this. Carbon accounting has essentially become the new financial accounting for any modern business.
And believe me, the shift here has been dramatic. Just a few years ago, carbon reporting was, a nice to have, wasn't it? Something you'd find buried deep in a corporate social responsibility report. But now, it's a core business function, getting the same level of regulation and scrutiny as financial reporting. It has literally moved from the marketing department right onto the CFO's desk.
Which brings us to Section 2, why certification is non-negotiable. Now, when a skill goes from nice to have to mission critical, something else always happens. The standards for proving you actually have that skill go way, way up. And that's exactly why certification is the new gold standard for professional credibility.
The key idea here is actually pretty simple. Uncertified professionals are now seen as a high-risk liability. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't let an uncertified accountant manage your company's financials, would you? Of course not. Well, the very same logic now applies to the carbon ledger. A company's entire climate strategy really depends on the credibility of the person crunching those numbers.
And employers are demanding this for very specific bottom-line reasons. They need to reduce costly reporting errors. They want to avoid the massive reputational damage that comes with greenwashing allegations. And they have to mitigate the very real risk of regulatory violations. Certified professionals are the ones who can build the audit-ready systems that give investors, customers, and regulators confidence in the numbers.
Okay, on to Section 3, the credentials employers trust. So, it's critical, we get it, but with so many new programs popping up all over the place, how do you spot the ones that will actually get you hired? Let's break down the hallmarks of a truly valuable credential. Here's what you need to look for. First, it absolutely must be based on global standards, like the GHG Protocol. That's kind of the generally accepted accounting principles for carbon. It also needs to go beyond theory with real-world casework, and crucially, it has to cover the complexities of Scope 1, 2, and 3 calculations. The goal here isn't just to learn something, it's to build skills that can stand up to a tough financial-grade audit.
And this isn't just theory. This stuff translates directly into high-demand jobs. We're seeing roles like carbon analyst and climate reporting manager, sure, but also totally new senior positions like ESG controller and net zero transformation lead, where having that certification is now a key requirement to even get an interview.
Okay, Section 4, specialization and career growth. You can think of it like this. Getting that foundational certification gets you in the door, but specializing, that's how you become an absolutely indispensable expert. And to see why specialization is so key, you just have to look at Scope 3 emissions. This is everything else in a company's value chain, from the energy your suppliers use all the way to the emissions from customers using your product. It's almost always the biggest piece of the carbon puzzle, and by far the hardest one to solve. This is where the real experts are made.
So this lays out a really clear career path. You start with that foundational certification, learning the core protocols. Then you add a specialist credential in a high-demand area like supply chain or financed emissions. It's that combination of breadth and depth that makes you a top-tier candidate in this new climate economy.
And that brings us to our final section, the future of the profession. So where is all of this going? Well, the future here is being shaped by two really powerful forces: ever-tightening regulations and, of course, the rapid advance of technology. Now, this brings up that common question, right? With all this advanced AI and software, is the human professional going to become obsolete? It's a valid concern, for sure. But the reality is looking much more like a partnership.
Here's the balance. Software gives you the speed to handle all that data, but the certified professional provides the trust. They're the ones who validate the outputs, who apply critical judgment, and who make sure the numbers can actually withstand an audit. Technology is an incredibly powerful tool, but it is not a substitute for human expertise.
So the future isn't about replacement, it's all about evolution. We're going to see the rise of these really exciting hybrid roles that blend deep climate knowledge with top-notch tech and data skills. Think about jobs like a climate data architect or an AI-driven footprinting analyst. This is where things are headed.
So, if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. In a field where the global demand for talent is dramatically outpacing the supply, getting certified in carbon accounting is one of the most powerful and strategic investments you can possibly make in your career. The global transition to net zero isn't just an environmental goal. It is a massive economic transformation, and a transformation this big is creating a whole new class of professional leaders. So the only question left is, are you ready to be one of them?